was not that bad. What's going on, y'all? Your boy Darius here, back in for another video, and this time I am here with my review of Captain America Brave New World, formerly known as Captain America. Just got back from seeing it. Well, not really, just got back from seeing it. Went to the gym first to burn off some of that popcorn and candy. But I'm here, I've had some time, had a couple hours to really sit on it and see where I am at with this movie. And as I said to start this off, it was not that bad. Maybe it could be just because my expectations were lowered to such a degree. When I saw some of those clips that came out, I was just like, these clips do not look good. Like, this does not look good. And then, there was news of the different reshoots, or rather, additional photography, whatever you want to call it. They basically, it was reported that damn near half the movie was, kind of cut, and they had to film again, and it was a whole thing. And that kind of lowered some of my expectations. But I don't think that's why I enjoyed this one. I thought it was good. I thought it was a perfectly fine entry in the Captain America franchise. Is it better than Winter Soldier? Hell no. Is it better than Civil War? Hell no. Is it better than First Avenger? I might watch this one more than First Avenger. First Avenger, I think, is underrated as heck. But it's right there with First Avenger. I think it's it's depending on the day. I'm just First Avenger has some real good stuff with, Steve's backstory and whatnot, and really understanding what makes him a good man and whatnot. But I'll settle on that maybe a later day. But I'm going to sit here and deliver my spoiler-free review first for Captain America Brave New World, and then I will hit a spoiler section. We're going to talk spoilers, and if you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to be spoiled, I'll let you know when that happens. So let's start off with non-spoilers, shall we? So, as you know, this is the fourth Captain America movie. It's the first Captain America movie starring Sam Wilson as Captain America, Anthony Mackie leading the charge as the character after the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier. This features it's like a political, action thriller surrounding, how should I say this? Because it's not a spoiler, but the Celestial from Eternals, what's his name? Tiamat, emerged, of course. He was going to emerge and blow up the entire planet, but the Eternals stopped him and froze him in the Indian Ocean. And a lot of people have been saying, dude, that has not come back around. No one's talked about the Eternal sitting in the ocean. We'd be talking about that. They finally addressed it in this movie. It basically becomes, this is also not a spoiler because it was in the trailers, becomes a race for adamantium, which is the material harnessed from the Celestial, right? That's how we get eventually Wolverine and stuff like that. Him with his claws, those claws back there. You see him. So it basically becomes a sort of race for different countries to try and mine it and whatnot. And then they come to this agreement. General Thunderbolt Ross, now played by Harrison Ford, taking over for the late William Hurt, basically brings along this sort of treaty to basically stop the different countries from working against each other, and more so working with each other, so that the world itself can benefit from adamantium. And all sorts of political shenanigans happen, assassination attempts, mind control, someone in the background pulling strings. I feel like you might know who it is, but in case you don't, I'll leave that for the spoiler review, because I'm pretty sure it was announced at D23. But in case you just didn't know about that, I'll leave that for the spoilers. Let's start, of course, with the positives. I will say, I think Anthony Mackie was one of the better parts of the movie. I thought he did a really good job at taking over for Steve Rogers, taking over for Chris Evans in terms of stepping into the lead of this movie and showing that, yes, he can lead his own movie. That's always been a question for a lot of people when it came to his character. Do you really think Sam Wilson, do you really think Anthony Mackie has that juice, has that sauce to be the main Captain America in the MCU? And I think, without a shadow of a doubt, he does. He was really good. He was really enjoyable, really he was confident in himself in a lot of parts. There were some parts where he wasn't confident in terms of the character going back and forth over should I be Captain America or not? Which I could have gone without that, but we're sticking with positives here. He was a really good lead in the role, and I think he knows who this character is by this point. Like he knows what he's doing. He's played the character since Winter Soldier. He's got it under control, and I think once we get to the Avengers films, once we get to Doomsday and Secret Wars, I can 100% see him leading the Avengers. I can 100% lead him. I can 100% see him saying, "Avengers Assemble." And when he says that, it's going to be a glorious moment. Another big positive for this movie, I think maybe the best part of the movie overall, Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross. Dude was great. Like, dude was fantastic. Like, you think back to William Hurt, his portrayal of Ross in The Incredible Hulk, and what did he show up in? Civil War and Infinity War. Like, William Hurt, I think he's in Black Widow as well. William Hurt did his thing as Thunderbolt Ross. But I don't know if it's just me, but Harrison Ford was kind of on a different level here. He was kind of acting, he was operating on a different level as Ross. This wasn't a case of, like, say, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull or whatever, where he was coasting. He was coasting. You could tell, like, he wasn't really into it. He was just like, all right, that's what I'm doing. I'm back now. I'm getting paid. Let's do it. And you could say that you could very well have expected him to bring that to this role, because he even said in interviews just like, hey, to play this role, I had to do some stupid stuff for money, right? But he did not coast. He did not phone it in. He was really good, especially like when it came to like the different emotional beats, whether it's talking about, you know, his relationship with Betty, which has been fractured, the moments where like he's on the verge of losing control and potentially turning to the Red Hulk. He was so good. And you can really see throughout this movie that he's trying to change. He's trying to be different, but there are those moments that just sort of bring him back, and like the old Ross shines out in that rage. Because if you go back and watch Incredible Hulk, I watched it again recently. Like, he is full gung-ho. He's kind of, I don't want to say he's kind of emotional, but he is just super laser focused on this. And he's just like, damn it, I want it done this way. I want the Hulk. He brings some of that into this movie when pushed, and I really appreciated Harrison Ford's performance for that. I'd say another big positive was the action in terms of whenever they're flying, right? Whenever Sam or Joaquin Torres, whenever Captain America and Falcon are flying around doing their thing, it's pretty fun, right? Hand-to-hand combat's not the best, but I'll touch more on that when it comes to negatives. But I thought all the different action scenes incorporating the wings with the shields, fantastic. Loved every single moment of that, especially with the focus on the fact that this shit is vibranium. These are vibranium wings. They got the same Black Panther tech where, like, you know, gets the purple glow and then he, you know, discharges the kinetic energy and stuff. Love it. Fantastic. Another positive, and I'm probably going to get crucified for even saying this, was Sabra, which I don't think she was even called that in this movie. I forgot the actress's name. I think it's like Shira Haas, I think, playing Ruth. What was the name that she said? They said it a couple different times. Ruth Bat Seraph, I think, was like her name. That's the name of the character in the comics. Very controversial character. It's a character, I don't know why the hell Marvel made her, when you look at some of the stuff she was doing and saying back then. But that kicked up a whole uproar, as well as I think the actress. Like, she's an Israeli actress, and I believe she served in the military. And a lot of people didn't like that because you look at the world right now, you look at the state of things going on in, you know, Gaza and whatnot. People are not down with Israel right now. They're not. So ever since this character was announced, it had been an uproar. There were protests, I think, at the premiere. And it's all just a shame that this had to be brought into this movie. You know, on one hand, you can say, hey, Marvel always, they always take characters and change them up, right? So, like, this is not going to be the same character as written on the page, which she wasn't. Like, literally the only thing similar to the character on the page was just the name, which even that I feel like they probably should have changed. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. I mean, they did give her a suit. She did get like a suit reminiscent from the comics, at least the color wise, which I was even surprised that they did that, because I'm just like, I thought you wanted to stay away from that as much as you want to. But literally, all she's an Israeli Black Widow, which I guess might be a spoiler, but I think they came out and said that. Or if not, sorry, spoilers. But she's an Israeli Black Widow. That's literally it. Like, they say that she's from Israel once, and that's it. It's not a big part of her identity in the movie. And throughout the movie, I thought she was pretty annoying for most of it. But then once she makes a bit of a flip in terms of, like, her character arc and her character journey, she becomes a lot more enjoyable. Also, she was short as hell. I know I'm going to talk. I'm standing here at 5'6", but, like, I'm seeing her standing next to Mackie and Ford and whatnot. I'm just like, bro, she's tiny. She's like Alexa Bliss size. It's crazy. I won't go as far as to say that this is a negative, right? I think Giancarlo is great in whatever he does, and he was great in this movie as a Sidewinder for what we got of him. But I guess this is sort of crossing over into the negative territory in that what we got of him wasn't much. And it's just like, you get Giancarlo for this? Like, Giancarlo is a character that, like, his character in this movie could have been played by anyone. Literally, you could have cast anyone to play his name, Sidewinder. But it's just like, okay, they got Giancarlo because if we're gonna get Giancarlo, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him now. I guess they couldn't wait. They had to stick him in this movie with the reshoots or whatever. And I just think, like, as good as he was, could have been anybody else. And Marvel has a habit of doing that. They'll cast, like, certain actors just like, oh, this is such a fantastic, magnificent actor for a throwaway role. Like, they got Bill Skarsgård to be the what was he? Not the Eternal. The deviant in Eternal. What's his name? Crow? I think his name was Crow. How do I remember that? I have no idea. But, like, anyone could have been that. You got Bill Skarsgård for that. But it was just CGI, so it doesn't really matter. But this one, Sidewinder, like, again, for what he was there for, Giancarlo did a good job. I'll get more into, like, his character and what he is in the comics and what he is in the movie. I'll get more into that when it comes to spoilers. I'll tell you what, man, something that was a negative for, like, most of the movie, Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon, he was, for most of the movie, kind of annoying. So some of his stuff didn't land, but I think he was overwhelmingly annoying. Like, I've seen in other reviews of the movie. I just thought for most of it was just like, okay, buddy, you're not that funny. You're kind of laying on a little thick here. You dial it back. Okay, you're just, like, you won't shut up, which they even say is a thing in the movie. Like, he doesn't learn how to shut up. He doesn't know how to shut up and whatnot. But when the movie does end, I do think he was in a place where I'm like, okay, I like this guy. Just with some different writers, with some different directors. Next time, just dial it back a little bit. Now, I know people are going to be asking about the Red Hulk, and I will go deeper in Red Hulk when it comes to spoilers later. But how was the Red Hulk? Considering he was all over the marketing, like, literally, this movie was marketed around, we have a Red Hulk in this movie. He was in it for, like, 8 minutes, if that. But those were some damn good 8 minutes. Because it brought us back Rage Hulk, which we haven't seen in God knows how long. What, it's been, like, you could say, like, I guess the beginning of Infinity War, but I'm not going to count that. What, Ragnarok? But even in I guess he was kind of Rage Hulk. He talked more. But you could say Ragnarok. For me, really, Ultron. Ultron's the last time I had the Hulk. Like, the Green Scar, whatever you call him, right? Like, the Hulk. Last time we really had him was Age of Ultron. And a lot of Red Hulk's destruction, a lot of what he was doing in the movie was just like, yes, I haven't seen this Hulk stuff in, like, 10 years. Hasn't even, oh my God, Age of Ultron was 2015. Almost 10 years ago. It's crazy. But, yeah, I thought it was great. They didn't really utilize the fact that in the comics, I believe he has, like, fire powers. I think, like, they kind of show, like, when he's transforming, like, he's like burning and whatnot. But they didn't really have him throwing fireballs or nothing, which I guess may have been too much. Who knows? But I thought Red Hulk, for what he was really good. And I thought that whole final battle between him and Sam, it had been a recurring thing between me and the manager that I work with at my job, in terms of just like, how is Sam gonna beat him? How is Sam gonna fight Red Hulk? I kept telling him, like, hey man, got vibranium wings, a whole vibranium suit. He's gonna be just fine. Now, was he just fine? We'll get into that when it comes to spoilers. I'm trying to see, is there anything else I want to talk about in terms of positives, negatives? Oh God, the music. The music was probably the biggest negative. Like, Laura Cartman did the score. She did the score for Miss Marvel, I believe. I don't know if she did the one for the Marvels as well, but Miss Marvel's theme is one of my favorite MCU themes. Miss Marvel's theme is amazing. I know she did the main theme for, like, What If and whatnot, which was really good. This was not her best work, because I don't remember anything. I don't remember a single moment from the score. Nothing sticks out of my mind. It was just unremarkable. It was just generic, and she did not use Sam's theme. You remember Sam's theme from Falcon Winter Soldier? Dun, 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 dun. Like that, right? Which I think they even introduced in Winter Soldier. Like that was his little, I forget what they call it, like a leitmotif, right? Or whatever. That was there in Winter Soldier, and then Henry Jackman, when he did Falcon and Winter Soldier, brought that back and made it a whole thing. Like this whole, like bombastic, or not really bombastic, but like, dun, dun, dun. Like, he used that when he became Captain America. And it was nowhere to be found in this. It was like Ike Perlmutter was back in the building making, making these composers write different themes for people because they didn't want to reuse the old themes or whatever. It's just like, what are we doing here? But that was like, it bothered me. I kept waiting for the moment. It's like, give me Sam's theme. Give me Sam's theme. Nothing. And like none of the villains had like a real good, notable theme like Bucky's theme in Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier's theme. Good God, that's an amazing theme. There's just nothing really to remember when it comes to the music, when it comes to the score. That was the worst part of the movie by far. But final thoughts, non-spoiler. I think it's a perfectly good MCU movie. It's like, is it like top shelf? No. Is it terrible? Is it bottom shelf? No. That's still reserved for the likes of Captain Marvel and Thor Love and Thunder and the Marvels, But this is like, when I do my ranking, I'll have to look at where I put this. It'll probably be like, I don't know about bottom half, but like maybe sort of like peaking, like on the periphery of reaching like sort of the middle area, or maybe it might even top some stuff like maybe, I don't know, like the first Ant-Man or Doctor Strange. Probably not thinking about it. But anyway, let's jump into some spoilers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the spoiler section of the video where we talk spoilers for Captain America Brave New World. If you have not seen it, this is your chance to click away. You have been warned. So, I suppose we should talk about the leader, right? We should talk about the leader, who I don't think in the movie they even called him the leader. He was the guy, pulling the strings, which again I thought was public knowledge, but they hide him away in the trailers, except for maybe one trailer. Maybe like one TV spot showed him in his ugly looking appearance, which his head was not big enough. It was not big enough, man. Like, if you look at the leader from the comics, this giant, just dome head, enlarged gamma head, green. It was not that. It was so much smaller. Like, it was disgusting. Don't get me wrong. It was disgusting to look at. But in an age where the MCU nowadays, a lot of the character designs are really comic accurate. Like, look at Galactus coming up, dude. He's got, like, the full ugly helmet with the things right here, the handles. I was about to call them something, dude. That's disgusting. I'm not going to say that. You know what I'm probably thinking. I think Deadpool said it in Deadpool in Wolverine. I'm not going to say it. But, now I'll say it. Blowjob handles. But, like, you look at Deadpool and Wolverine, giving him the blue and yellow outfit, and even the brown outfit at one point, right? Like, a lot of these movies, a lot of these shows have given characters comic accurate appearances, costumes, even, like, MODOK, even though his face wasn't all, like, you think about MODOK's face is always kind of, like, nasty, shriveled up. They didn't do that, but, like, that was MODOK, even though it was a different character than in the comics. But for some reason, they decided not to go comic accurate with the leader. I just didn't really understand it. It's just like, man, it's very simple. Just make his head huge. Just make his head huge. And I think, like, his character arc, the use of him in this movie, I thought was actually pretty effective in terms of, like, them explaining where he's been this entire time. He's been locked up by Ross and used as, like, his own probability computer. He was like, what's going to happen here? Predict what's going to happen. Or, like, this problem, this technological, scientific problem, solve it. I'm dying. Cure me. And he, of course, cures him by giving him, like, a bunch of gamma, like, pills that basically set the groundwork for him becoming the Red Hulk, which the Red Hulk was amazing. He was great. He was whooping Sam's ass at one point. Like, took off one of the wings. I said it when I was watching it, because, like, he only had one wing. I was just like, oh my God, he's the one-winged angel. Sephiroth. It's just like, that whole fight was really good. Everything with Harrison Ford, everything with Ross was great. Like, you could see where he started all optimistic, like, Sam, we're going to rebuild the Avengers, Captain America having you working with me. It's gonna be so good. To having Sam arrested at one point, and just like they're on the brink of war with Japan and different stuff, which I thought was interesting that they chose Japan as like the main superpower against them when it comes to acquiring the adamantium, because like Wolverine has he has what, like, connections with Japan. I mean, like, his kid is Japanese, half Japanese, right? Dakin. He has his own like thing with Silver Samurai, and I think Silver Samurai sword, or like his entire outfit, is it made of adamantium, or is that just for the movie, for the Wolverine? I don't know, but when I saw that Japan was involved, I'm just like, oh, is Silver Samurai gonna get some adamantium? Is that what they're gonna do with that, or Lady Deathstrike maybe? I don't know, but it was very interesting there. I think the president of Japan was like the guy from Shogun. He's one of the guys from Shogun. I can't remember his name, but I think that was his face. I was just like, that dude, he was in Shogun, right? Or am I just racist? I don't know. Bucky does show up, and I tell you what, it was crazy, because like it was a scene where, like, they're fighting in the air, trying to stop U.S. and Japan from blowing each other up and get into a full-scale war. These pilots go rogue because the leader has this thing which he did to Isaiah Bradley and other people, where he plays this song and it triggers them, and they do whatever he wants them to do and whatnot, and kill whoever he wants them to kill. Did it to the pilots, and Falcon tries to save one of them. I think Sam is going for the same one. Sam's telling him, "Nah, to pull back, I got it," and then he gets like hit with a missile or something, and he's like really badly injured. And okay, so when the scene happens where Sam is in the hospital with Joaquin, and he's on the other side of the room watching him being worked on and whatnot, I was just like, okay, they're working on him. I can go to the bathroom real quick. And like the bathroom's like right next to me. Like I'm at the top level. There's like a bathroom place to go out the door, go in the bathroom. I'm like, okay, I got to go pee real quick and come back and not miss anything. I walk back in and I see James Buchanan Barnes standing there with like his hair all like a little bit longer. He's got the suit on, the United States flag pin. I'm just like, oh, he's in the movie, which, good on Sebastian Stan for always saying that, no, I'm not in the movie. And I missed what that reaction was in the theater. And one thing I love about my theater that I go to is that, like, the crowd will voice their reactions. They will voice their opinions. And it's always fun because we're literally always on, like, the same page. Like, when No Way Home happened and Toby and Andrew came to those portals, we all lost our minds collectively. Like, that type of stuff goes on in my theater. And I missed what the reaction was to Bucky coming out, and I hate it. I bet people probably applauded. They probably just like, oh my God, it's Bucky. I wanted to be a part of that. I just opened the door. I'm just like, oh shit, it's Bucky. I had to quickly sit down. They had a nice little moment. I will say, in that moment though, like, Sam goes through his whole, Steve shouldn't have given me the shield. I'm just like, brother, you had an entire series dealing with this. Why are you bringing this up? Why are we doing this again? We've seen this story before. Let's not do this again. And it didn't really last that long, but just the fact that he even said that, I'm like, bro, you even fixed your mouth to say that after what you went through with John Walker and the Flag Smashers. You really gonna bring that up again? Stop it. But Bucky got him straightened out in his head, right? He even told him that he loved him too. I'm just like, oh man, that's heartwarming. That's where the relationship is at this point, And now Bucky's got to go. I think he's at that point in the movie. He's not elected yet, but he's gonna go run for Congress, and then we'll see him in Thunderbolts, which looks amazing. I'm trying to see any other spoilerish things to talk about. We talk about like the adamantium, which obviously is setting the groundwork for Wolverine. Isaiah Bradley, dude. That man, Carl Lumbly, I think his name is. So many times he gets so emotional because he has thinking about his past and what they did to him, and like he gets emotional about it several times, and it's just like, man, I can't watch this old man cry again. It hurts. Like, it literally hurts. I can't go through it again. He's so good. Giancarlo Esposito plays Sidewinder in this movie. He's the leader of the Serpents, which was clearly supposed to be the Serpent Society, which, if you think back, when the set photos came out of Seth Rollins on set of this movie, and I think there was also Diamondback from the comics as a member of the Serpent Society with like the pink hair and stuff. and they're just not in the movie because they got cut during the reshoots or whatever, and that's when Giancarlo was added in. And it's just like, you can, one of the biggest sins of the movie is that you can tell, aside from the music, you can tell where the reshoots happened, where the additional photography happened, because like, the editing, the pacing, it'll go from one scene, or like one scene will end and another one will begin at a point where it's just like, that's a real quick jump. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you get like that did not seem seamless. And the serpents, like, they're not the Serpent Society. They're just a bunch of goons with guns, like Black Ops goons, and they're, that's all they are. Like, again, Giancarlo, there's nothing special in this movie. Like, he does not phone it in. He never phones it in. But the character is just like, could have been played by anyone, and I kind of would have preferred to have seen a more traditional Serpent Society. I mean, not them all running around in snake costumes, but like whatever they were going for with them, I kind of want to see that, man. Like, I hope like for like deleted scenes or whatever on like a DVD that they released that, because I would actually quite like to see that stuff. Post-credit scene wise, I have to talk about the post-credit scene. There is only one, and it's crazy because like when he goes to the raft to see the leader and see, well, no, I think before that, but before the end of the movie, before the credits rolled, he went to go see Ross, who is now in the raft. I was hoping they showed Zemo, because I think Zemo was in the raft, right? Zemo in the raft, or he's in Wakanda? Can't remember, but I'm pretty sure Zemo's in the raft. I was like, please show us Zemo, but they didn't show Zemo. Seems like the only people in the raft is Ross and the leader, which again, I don't think they even called him the leader, Sam Stearns. But he goes to see Sam Stearns and talk to him, and basically Sam Stearns reveals that like because of his mind works, the gamma radiation, enhanced his mind. He can calculate all these different probabilities. He's basically predicted that Secret Wars and Doomsday is going to happen. Like, he's just like, there are other universes out there. I've predicted it. I've seen it. I've ran the probabilities, and they're coming. So that's setting the way for those movies. I kind of wish he would have said, I forgot what exactly he says. He says something to like, you better be ready for like you better be ready for the others to come, or something like that. I was hoping he'd say something like, you better be ready, Captain, because the world will soon face its doom. I was just like I would have been, I was like, ah! I was like, say it, but he didn't say it. And I don't think there's any way he would have been able to know, even with his probability stuff, there's no way he would have predicted that doom was coming. That just wouldn't have happened. But, yeah, interesting little post-credit scene there. Cap is sort of, I guess, out in front of that in terms of just like, wait a minute, some people from different universes about to show up? What's about to happen here? Doomsday, that's what's going to happen. All in all, I think it was a good movie. I give like a solid 7 out of 10. It wasn't anything special. Wasn't the greatest thing in the world. Wasn't the worst thing in the world. It's just like sort of sitting there in the middle. Enjoyable. Like, I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored watching it. Like, all the way through, I was engaged. It just never hit that level of Winter Soldier or Civil War. Not that I needed it to, but even if you look at like other solo outings, like a Doctor Strange, like a Shang-Chi. I think Shang-Chi is another, probably the best one I could sort of compare this to in terms of just like, it's probably below Shang-Chi, I think. I think I enjoyed a lot more in Shang-Chi, except for the final like act. But it's kind of there playing with Shang-Chi, I think. I have to look at my rankings again. But it's definitely not bad. It's definitely not, I forgot what it has on Rotten Tomatoes, as if that even matters. All that matters is what you think. All that matters is your opinion, your tastes. Can they kind of be, a little wild? Sure. But I don't think it's a wild take for me to say that this was a good movie, that it wasn't anything spectacular, that it was perfectly serviceable, a good time, and that's all I ever needed it to be. All right? All I wanted from this movie was to not suck, and for me, it didn't suck. But that's my thoughts. What did you think of Captain America Brave New World? If you have seen it, let me know in the comments down below. Okay? Give me your review. Give me your thoughts on it. If you haven't seen it and you've watched this review, when will you see it? Are you planning to go see it? Let me know all that in the comments down below. Hit the like button, man. That helps out the video so much. Hit the subscribe button as well. That way you won't miss any other time I upload movie reviews or do trailer reactions or go live for things, which especially helps by hitting that notification bell so you know every time I do one of those. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.